Hey guys, right, so the last video I put up a few weeks ago, the bike had just passed its MOT, and I've been doing a few bits and pieces on the bike since then, just to kind of like finish a few things off. So when it went in for the MOT, it passed, but it's got an advisory, which was that the front brake pads were a little bit sticky in the calipers. So what I did was I took the brake pads out and gave them a good clean up with a wire brush and whatnot, and scrubbed them and got them reasonably clean. I haven't replaced them because they had plenty of life left in them. You probably can't really see. I don't know if there's a way I can show. No, I don't think you can really see there, but there's plenty of pad thickness there. So I just cleaned them up, put some copper slip all over the back of them, put them back in, and that seems to be fine as far as I can tell. So that was that wee job out of the way. And then what else have I done? I've wired the fan in. The fan wasn't working, and the reason it wasn't working was because the temperature sensor on the side of the radiator, which is this thing here, wasn't wired in. It was not connected into the electrics, and the block connector that goes onto it is completely missing. So what I've done is I've done like my own kind of DIY wiring job. I've basically done it with 3 wires. So a hot wire from the fuse box going onto that sensor, and then another wire from that sensor to the fan, and then another wire from the fan back to the earth, which is that red wire that I've got there. Ended up using the red wire for earth, which is not really ideal. Usually red would be hot, but there we go. So it's all wired in, and I've taped it all up with electrical tape, and it looks quite decent. And the fan, I tested the fan just by putting a screwdriver across these 2 pins. So I just put a flat blade screwdriver in, and as soon as I did that, the fan went, even without the ignition key in, because the fan circuit doesn't actually go through the ignition barrel. It goes just straight from the battery, straight through the fuse box, and then straight to that sensor, and then to the fan, and then back to earth. That's all it is. So if you bridge the connection, the fan goes on straight away. So that's pretty good. So I've now got a working fan, which means that I don't have to turn the engine off every time I'm at traffic lights. That, because the last few times I've ridden it, I've just turned the engine off when I've been at traffic lights, just in case it starts to overheat. But now I've got the fan working on and won't need to do that, so that's quite good. So what else have I done? I've just fitted a new horn just now, because the other horn, basically I'd taken the old horn off, and I lost the nut for the horn. When I had the engine out, I had the horn off, basically because I had everything off, I can't find a nut that fits with the old horn. It seems to be like a really weird kind of thread that none of the nuts in my garage will fit with it. So I bought that new horn, which was about a tenner off eBay or something like that, and I bolted that on with a nylock nut, as you can maybe see in the video, and wired it in, and I've just tested it and it works fine. So that's good. So I've got a new horn on there, which is quite nice. Kind of all sorts of new bits and pieces on it, really. Yeah, and then the other thing was I got a new end can. Now, this is not a brand new end can. This is a second-hand end can off eBay, which I paid £30 and £10 delivery. So it's basically 40 quid. And it's a standard Kawasaki end can. You can see there, for zoom in, you've got the Kawasaki logo and KHI for Kawasaki Heavy Industries. Now, it was a bit scruffy when I got it, so what I did was I gave it a coat of engine enamel. I didn't use normal paint because I think the heat would probably make normal paint flake off. But obviously, engine enamel is designed to be suitable for components that get hot. So that's it. It's actually engine lacquer, they call it, 250mm, and it's silver. I've had this for ages. Bought it for a project, one of my projects you might see in one of my earlier videos from years ago on YouTube. And I had a wee bit left over, and still a wee tiny drop in there actually. Anyhow, so I painted it, brush painted it with that, and it looks quite decent. It's actually got a wee bit dirty because I got caught in a shower when I was coming back from somewhere on the weekend, and the whole bike's kind of got a wee bit dirty just because of the rain, basically. But it looks better than the old can. That's the can here that was on it when I bought it, and that's an Akrapovic end can, which is the paint's peeling off it and it's a bit scabby. The main reason I swapped it is that that's quite a noisy end can. The bike's quite loud with that on, and I wasn't mad keen on that. I used to kind of like noisy bikes back in the day, but these days I kind of just prefer it if it's reasonably quiet, you know. Just for myself, just for, you know, if you're going to ride a long distance or whatever, you haven't got that kind of noise all the time. And also kind of like just for neighbours and people in general, I just think it's kind of more civilised just to have a nice kind of quiet standard kind of bike. And obviously it does look a lot better as well because it's better condition, it's not scabby. The only thing against it is quite kind of big and heavy and bulky. The Akrapovic can's a lot smaller. In fact, to tell you what, I'll hold it up next to it and you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, and it also meant, another thing I could point out, it also meant I could get rid of that, because that clamp is what you need for one of these slip-on cans, because it doesn't have a built-in bracket, whereas this thing has a built-in bracket, so it just bolts straight on, which I think is kind of neat. I kind of like the look of that, you know. It's just looks more sort of, what's the word, professional or original or whatever. So that's the Akrapovic can, and that's the standard one. So it's maybe about 4 or 5 inches longer overall, something like that. And it's also quite a bit thicker as well. You probably can't really tell that in the video, but maybe from the top you can see it. It's quite a lot thicker, which is obviously just because it's got a lot more, you know, silencer material inside it, you know, and that's why it's quieter, because it's got more stuff to deaden the sound. So yeah, it's made it quite a bit quieter. I'll tell you what I'll do actually. I wasn't going to do this, but what I might do is I might just run it a bit and you can hear what it sounds like. I've just run it a second ago, so it should just start up, I think. So, see. Sounds much more like a standard bike. It's not much more noisy than my car. If I had my car in here, it'd probably make about that much noise. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, it's still quite noisy in the garage, obviously, because the garage is kind of, you know, quite an enclosed kind of space. But if it was out on the road or whatever, it does seem a lot quieter. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I've kind of blethered on for long enough, so I'll let you go, and I'll hopefully get some kind of like motor vlogs or whatever up sometime soon. Alright, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.